Go to college about no time. We have two ladies in studio this morning. We have Dr. Zahra Moss and April Abrahamson. Who wants to go first talking about the topics of the day?
I can. My name is April. I'm the financial aid director at the college. So Congress has decided that financial aid should present on Constitution Day. So we have a presentation every year. September 16th is actually Constitution Day, but we will do our presentation on the 15th this year. And I've asked Dr. Zahra Moss to present, and she always has some fun ideas.
I do. I try and keep it kind of interesting. You know, when it's history, you try and keep it, gotta liven it up just a little bit.
Of course.
Yeah, trying to keep it modern with the times, gonna draw the people in. There are snacks. We always forget to tell people, come see us on Friday for the Constitution Talk. There will be snacks.
Okay, first off, what are the snacks?
Well, it's white zucchini cupcakes this year, but the theme of the cupcakes is going to be blood money. So come and see some fun cupcakes.
I know. When we say blood money, I know you're thinking like Keith Morrison, Dateline 2020, but I mean, it's something equally sexy as Keith Morrison. Impeachment.
That's funny because I don't find Keith Morrison.
What?
I mean, maybe it's just a guy
Shame.
thing. I know,
Okay.
it's crazy.
Okay, ladies, back me up. Okay, well, last year was really interesting. We were trying to discuss, like, how can we draw these students into the class? Like, how can we get them and people in the community to, like, come out and listen to a Constitution Day talk? And I think a lot of people think Constitution Day, oh, famous non-U.S. citizens who were, naturalized and given citizenship and, different aspects of the Constitution. Ideally, what the Constitution Day talk tries to do is look at the Constitution as kind of very multifaceted. There's so many things we can learn from this one document. So last year we looked at constitutional loopholes, and we looked at murders in national parks, and we looked at, is there a zone of death in which, like, you could actually commit a murder and get away with it? So we're trying to kind of, like, make the Constitution interesting,
A living document.
Yes, make it something very cool. We want something we can talk about. And so this year, we're going to, I will be introducing this idea of presidential relationships with, like, Congress and impeachment. And so we're looking at Article 2, Section 4 on impeachment. And if you're not a fan of the news, which I know a lot of our young students at DCB aren't, but I know people in the community are. Impeachment is kind of like in vogue right now, right?
Yeah,
we're talking about,
yeah.
I mean, we're talking about, like, current events. We're talking about future events. We're talking, I try and tell people, like, we're living in such an interesting kind of, like, contemporary historical moment in which we have, like, a president who's facing, like, articles of impeachment for the second time. And, like, what does this mean? And a lot of people don't really know the backstory of, like, well, why do we have, impeachment processes in the first place? And what does this mean for us as a country and as a society? And so I would say it's interesting to talk about. And if you don't know about it, there's tons of podcasts you can check out. You can go online and kind of get yourself a little bit familiarized with, the Constitution, and then come and have a chat, like, come and have a conversation with us about, what does impeachment really mean for us as a society, and what does impeachment mean, like, as a process, and, just get engaged,
I guess my first question, and now I don't know if you can answer this or not. I mean, obviously it's in the Constitution.
Oh my God, I hope so. Here we go.
About how the impeachment process works.
Can I phone a friend?
Yeah, you have 3 lifelines.
Is Judge
Yes,
Swain available? Okay, tell me.
So the question is, at the end of the day, if we're not happy, if there's crimes or whatever that they're being accused of, why can't we just vote them out?
That's very, very cool question and very, very interesting. And I think a lot of people forget, like, the articles of the Constitution are there to safeguard, right? They're there to kind of, like, protect the interests of the American people.
Okay.
And ideally, like, when we had, the Constitution as it was created, we're like, we need this system of checks and balances. And impeachment processes and procedures are just another check and balance, right? In order to even, like, have an impeachment process, like, the Senate and the House have to agree that we're going to, like, do this thing. And then it's an entire process. And so outside of the court of public opinion, impeachment does have its own set of standards and processes. I think what's very kind of what provides kind of like this kind of like questioning amongst us as like everyday Americans is that it's very discretionary, as the criminal justice system is, right? Like, people have to agree that there is a purpose or a motivation.
True.
And so I think that that's what's hard for us to like get behind. Like, a lot of people think like, okay, so impeachment, what do you have to be guilty of? Well, we have to be able to prove that there's like treason, bribery, right, the blood money, or other high crimes and misdemeanors. But that is like so broad, right? Like so like vague. Okay, like what kinds of high crimes? Is it moral crimes? Is it like because something that might be a high crime to me isn't a high crime to you.
True.
You know,
Yeah.
and it could be a morality clause. It could be, you know, somebody taking, you know, drinks and dinners from, you know, a foreign adversary. Well, is that treasonous? Like, should he be impeached? Like, should you have these dealings? I mean, I'm trying to make it sound interesting because it really is. Like, it really is.
You have piqued my interest.
Okay, like that's all I needed to do.
So when is this talk?
It will be Friday in the Alumni Conference Center at Dakota College at Botno at noon. So we go usually from noon to 1. I mean, I guess if it gets really engaging, we can go longer, but it's set up for noon to 1.
Well, you know, honestly, with a topic like this, and with the impeachment, as you guys are going to be talking about on Friday, I think a lot of people would be interested in that.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of people would have questions and discussions.
And I think like the best thing about it is I'm a very kind of like Socratic professor, and I don't intend or, you know, put out there that I have all the answers, but DCB is a place of learning, and it's so awesome to be able to have a forum and a space where we can kind of like learn from each other.
Yeah, maybe you all learn something too.
And you know, it's one of those things where it's like, hey, if you've lived through Watergate, you know, if you lived through the first like impeachment, or, you know, it's just so interesting, you know, like, can we bring articles of impeachment against somebody? Like, if they resign before we get the chance to, okay, but like, did they deserve it? You know what I mean? Like, did they deserve it before we were able to kind of like get it done?
Okay, so Friday at noon.
Friday at noon. And I do have a little kind of like Quizlet, you know, a little bonus, you know, if you decide to come by, noon hour, bring your lunch, or we have an awesome cafeteria, get it to go, come sit with us and like, let's have a chat. Only 3 presidents, I know, and I'm like, 3 only, what? 3 presidents have had like full impeachment processes like brought against them. Some were like, hey, we're gonna, but then it never happened. So if you come on Friday and you can tell us like, who were those presidents? Like, maybe we'll put you in for a little drawing or a little something extra.
I know.
I was
going
to say,
for
if you show up, we also have door prizes.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
And cupcakes.
And cupcakes.
So good.
All right.
It'll be great. Come visit us. Haven't seen you all in a while, so.
Sounds good. Constitution Day it is.
Yeah.
Keep it upbeat.
We're trying, you know.
Very cool. Thank you very much, ladies. April and Zahra, we are